Welcome back to FAWKES News. We've got a big show for you guys today. So much news to get into. We've got Joy Reid is out. I want to play some of her best Joy Reid moments for you all. Also, Eric Swalwell. I don't know if you remember him. He was in charge of the national intelligence and got caught sleeping with a Chinese spy. Well, he's back in the headlines this week, having a drunken dinner where he was super loud and voices. By the way, he's in charge of, he's one of the directors of the Homeland Security. And he just goes on this rant about cheating on his wife and all these other, like some national security stuff that he shouldn't be talking about out loud. It was all caught on videotape. He was confronted by it. Very embarrassing for him. And the media is scrubbing it already. You cannot find this on YouTube. You cannot find this if you just Google it. So I'm going to actually play it from the Twitter account that posted the video. You can tell it's absolutely not AI. We've confirmed that it's not AI. This is a real video. And again, big propaganda media doing their best to squash this because they know that he has to be fired. But we're going to get into it. I don't want to get into it too much right now. Also, we have this strange Dan Crenshaw versus Tucker Carlson moment that we'll talk about briefly. We've got the Epstein list update that we have to get into today. And then to close it all out, Trump wins. Are they too much? And I want to have a debate. So if you're in the live comments, if you're one of our live chatters, I want to know from all of you guys. Also, if you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, go ahead and subscribe. If you're on our YouTube, and we're 99% an audio show, so make sure you head over to Podbean, Spotify, or Apple Podcast, and give us a 5-star rating and review, and make sure that you are subscribed to our podcast, which is, it comes out almost daily at this point, news updates. So a lot to get into today. Today's show is brought to you by ghostbed.com and Pig Latin, a seriously funny true story written by myself and New York Times bestselling author Nick Palmisano. It is the first dark comedy about police that's ever kind of made it this far. It's one of the bigger book deals in its genre. It is the #1 release for this fall. Comes out August 26th, but we need everybody on the pre-order. We're sitting #1 new releases on Amazon all week last week, and that's all thanks to you. For everybody that pre-orders, that's listens to this podcast, I have an email list that you can be on, and that will get you a free signed bookmarker by moi. I don't know why this one's upside down, and I don't know why this one has a piece of my breakfast connected to it, but here we go. Minus a piece of my breakfast. Actually, one lucky winner will get the one bookmarker that has part of my breakfast on it. That'll be extra special, but I will sign these and put them in the mail free of charge to you for pre-ordering Pig Latin, a seriously funny true story. We really want to get this on the New York Times bestseller list. So it is very, very, very important that you guys pre-order the book. Don't wait for August 26th. Pre-order it now. If you really want the book and you can pay me back, you don't even have to pay me back. I just can't do this for like hundreds of people. You know what I mean? Because we have like 300 already. I have 300 of these to pass out, which is wild. So, but if you need help, financially need help, and you want to be on the pre-order book, and you're like, look, dude, we'd love to help you out. We'd love to pre-order it, but like, I don't get paid till X when, or I can give you 2 payments of $15 a month on your Venmo, Eric. I'll probably only charge you half, and I'll cover the other $15, but I would love to help you out. No judgment. I want everybody to have an opportunity to have the book. And if you can have it now, that is super important to me now versus later. So please, yes, Nigel ordered 4 copies, and I have his address. So you're going to get 4. You're going to get 4, one of each character. There are 4 different characters on the bookmarkers. You're going to get all 4 signed. Nigel, so thank you so much for doing that. All right. And then also a big upcoming news on our Failure to Stop podcast, which is where it spawned from. We are about to deep dive and go on a campaign to free Daniel Holtzclaw. We have a detective on board, Santana. If you guys want to follow them right now, he's the one that came on Failure to Stop's podcast for the book about the murder in Asheville, but it is Santana. Let me just make sure that I have this correct. Let me just make sure that I have it's Santana Brothers True Crime. The book was called A Murder on Campus. Santana. It's spelled the way you see it down there. Santana, Santana Brothers True Crime. That is their Instagram page, and their book is A Murder on Campus. But they have the detective there, Cameron Santana, has spent almost, we're just now cresting about 200 hours. We're keeping track of all of this. going through every single detail about the Daniel Holtzclaw case. I've been studying this case for about 6 years now, and there is no bit of evidence that shows Daniel Holtzclaw even remotely being capable of committing this crime. I do believe in my heart of hearts, I would not risk my reputation, my career, on my whole livelihood. I'm donating tons of time and money in this effort. We're going to be flying out to Oklahoma and doing more interviews. So we're really going to be dedicating a lot to freeing Daniel Holtzclaw. But this is a case that I've covered on Failure to Stop. You can just go to the Failure to Stop and just kind of see the hatchet job that I did. It does not do near justice. So on Failure to Stop, we're going to have a whole entire new genre series on Failure to Stop that is dedicated solely to freeing Daniel Holtzclaw. So make sure you head over to Failure to Stop as well and follow us over there. Okay. Let me address some of the people in the chats, and then we're going to get into all of this news. And I really want to start today off fun and flirty. Let me bring in Josh, Deadleg Media, and Jason from One More and I'm Out of Here podcast, here to sit on the panel of Political News Wednesdays for us. We've got Tyler S. in the chats, Mur530 up in the chats, Armory Knight. Tyler S. says, I do say this while Eric is offering, can't afford at the moment, but that will change soon enough. I know it's only $39.99. It's not $39.99. It's $29.99. Right? It's $29.99. Unless you're like in Canada or the UK, which, by the way, we have sold books in Switzerland and in the UK already, and a lot of books in Canada. So we have a lot of fans in Canada. That's pretty cool. I do get to see all the analytics of who's pre-ordered the book, so that's really neat. David J's up in the chats. Thank you, Will Cray. And it goes on. Appreciate all y'all being in the chats. I'm going to need you guys for the end of this, because towards the end, we want to talk about Trump wins. That's what I want you to be thinking about in the live chats as you're sitting in your vehicle driving to work right now. Is Trump winning too much? Is Trump winning too much? Does it feel like almost right now that the road has been paved for him? What is going on? Did they collapse us on purpose the last 4 years to do some kind of crazy rebuild? Does it feel like some kind of bigger plot or plan? I'm not saying it's a good plan or a bad plan, but it just feels weird that with almost no opposition, Trump is winning every week to week to week, and we're not getting very much pushback or blowback from the Democratic Party. And I want to kind of discuss what are some things that might be, is the Democrat Party just gone? Have they given up? Has people like Joy Reid ruined it? Are they coming to light? Not the ones on social media, not the Trump derangement syndrome lefties, but it's just the reasonable lefties. Are they what the 90s Republicans have become, where we were disenfranchised, we felt bamboozled by George Bush, and we switched over to this new Trump era party, which is kind of center of the road, very middle of the road? Has the left been, do they now feel duped? Are they been convinced the way that we were convinced in the 90s? Is that why? I don't know. It's hard for me to kind of talk to people from the very far left when they see people like Joy Reid and they defend people like Joy Reid. Why does MSNBC, how are you supposed to take these media outlets and these mainstream journalist outlets seriously when they allow somebody like Joy Reid to continue on and on and on until this has happened? They allowed what they manifested Trump being where he's at right now by allowing people like Joy Reid, a complete DEI hire, to absolutely, they didn't hire the best female for the job, the best even black female for the job. They hired the one that looks the best, that fits all of the DEI categories, whether she was the best for the job or not. And look where it's gotten NBC's ratings. And so we're going to start today's show with some of Joy Reid's best moments. But before I do we have any news updates when it comes to sports? Jason, I know I don't want to put you on the spot, but Jason's from the One More and I'm Out of Here podcast. They do a lot of, kind of happier-go-lucky politics, but he does a lot of sports news, and they do the sports show on Fox here for us. So real quick, do you have any sports updates before I get into this very serious news? Because sports is not serious.
No major updates, but we're kind of in that limbo period. Baseball's getting ready to start. We've got the NFL draft coming up. So we're kind of in that stall period that John and I call it. So that's where you get that, that funny banter back and forth, because we're trying to pick and choose the good stories that are out there. So we'll have some good stuff coming, though.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead. And Josh, you have anything before I start jumping into the Joy Reid's best moments that I feel led Joy Reid to being fired from MSNBC?
Not yet, unless you want me to tease what I'm going to work on for later.
No, I want to tease that at the end of today's show, because that is an extremely important tease, and that's going to be its own episode. Pretty big connected dots. That's what's really fun about Fox News, is if you follow us during the week, we bring you news that you're not going to find on mainstream media because we're deep diving really crazy threads, and then we're trying to fact check them. So we're making sure that we're not giving you guys misinformation or disinformation. And the kind of things that we come up with are usually almost of the Nostradamus effect. Like we're able to predict the future because of things that we're seeing that aren't being published in mainstream news using independent journalism, calling people and talking to people. We've been working on some of this flight stuff, flight pattern stuff, seeing where planes are going. And Josh has done a really great job because he's truly passionate about that. And he has connected some dots on some things that planes have been doing and going that actually he has compiled in the last week some pretty compelling evidence that might be a little foreshadowing of might be to come in regards to our relationships with China and Russia. So that's going to be its whole episode, but I'm going to let him tease that at the end of today's episode. Now let's go over to Joy Reid. If you don't know, if you live in a basement under a rock, you don't leave your police car, you don't listen to news, this is where you get your news. Joy Reid was ousted. She was fired from MSNBC, which was a really big deal, because she was 100% their DEI hire, and that's what they rallied behind. It didn't matter how ridiculous she was or sounded. They propped her up to be the number one. They propped her up to be their kind of golden child. Her and Rachel Maddow. The problem is that why didn't Rachel Maddow get fired? She says that she didn't get fired because she's white. And she feels guilty. She feels white guilt. You can go and listen to Rachel Maddow's, I call it an unhinged rant. I felt like it was a very poor rant. And if I was an NBC owner, if somebody did that on the Fox Media Group, I would fire you. I would be like, you're out of here too. Get out. But, they don't want to show the numbers of Joy Reid's programs. They don't want to show the numbers, and they don't want to show the receipts of how boneheaded she is. And when it comes down to numbers, which now all of a sudden that Trump is in, and the left is like, okay, numbers do matter. Statistics do matter. We can't fake it anymore. We're now going to have to play like adults, and we're going to have to start firing some of these idiots because they're obviously not getting us where we need to go. Now, remember, this is the same left that thought, Fetterman was a good idea. AOC was a great idea. Joy Reid's a great idea. Whoopi Goldberg's a great idea. You put the most dingbat folks in place, people are going to catch on to that maybe you're just a gimmick. And that's going to play into our why Trump is winning. And is it a setup? Because it's almost like if you put it all together in its totality, you're like, wait a minute. Are they doing this on purpose? Either way, I don't want to just shit on Joy Reid without giving you receipts. Here's just 3 of the most bonehead things that I could find really quickly. It's not really hard. There's 1,000 other things. These are just 3 I picked out. Here we go. I'll play the first one.
Are journalists and economists, right? So that is not part of the normal lexicon of the way people.
Let me give this some more context. I don't know if I cut it off. Let me rewind it.
Are journalists.
So let me give you context because it did cut off the first part of this. This is Joy Reid talking about the word inflation. This is her explaining the word inflation. Remember, the left thinks you're stupid. The far left, not the left, the far left. Joy Reids of this world think you're stupid. They think you on the regular left are stupid, you on the right are stupid, and you on the far right are stupid, which they may or may not be correct on the far right. But, as far as just being right and left, middle of the road, this is what these people think about you. Peasants.
Are journalists and economists, right? So that is not part of the normal lexicon of the way people talk. So it's interesting that Republicans are doing something they don't normally do, right? Which is not use the common tongue, right? Not use just common English to sort of do on their campaigns like they're doing with crime. But what they've done is they've taught people the word inflation, right? Yeah. Most people who would have never used that word ever in their lives are using it now because they've been taught it.
They've been taught. People are using this word inflation because they've been taught it by the Republican media. Like this isn't everyday lexicon. This isn't everyday speech or talk for the Republican Party, for the left party. This is what's you guys' take on that?
Define what is a woman. This is why we have been complaining about this for the last decade or so. Words matter. Defining what the words matter, and then changing the definition of things. Oh, we're going to change the definition of inflation because it doesn't look right. Well, you can call it whatever you want, but when you go to the grocery store and you pay $300 for a dozen eggs, what do you want to call it? You want to call it inflation? Do you want to call it green gas? Do you want to call it Bidenomics? What do you want to call it? And then trying to explain it like, oh, these are big words no one ever used before. No, you're using big words to try to make yourself sound more important than you are. Spell lexicon. I'm not claiming to be a good speller, but spell it for me. Can you spell it? You use the big word.
Lexicon.
Yep.
I bet you Joy Reid couldn't spell. But yeah, she goes on to say it's like this word inflation. And I'm not being hyperbolic here, guys. Like, look, let me play it for you one more freaking time. Like, listen, I'm not being hyperbolic. This is her explaining the word inflation.
Journalists and economists, right? So that is not part of the normal lexicon of the way people talk. So it's interesting that Republicans are doing something they don't normally do, right? Which is not use the common tongue, right? Not use just common English to sort of do on their campaigns like they're doing with.
So I hate that I cut it off for you guys, but she's saying inflation was a word only used by politicians and economists. That was the start of this. It's like, this isn't part of everyday tongue. The word inflation, that's not everyday tongue. I find this hilarious.
What a joke. And the fact that people that care about the country and care about economics, they use that word every freaking day, every day.
I mean, I've used inflation my whole life. I remember at 16 going like, damn it, inflation. You know what I mean? Like, oh, what do you mean? Because if you remember Taco Bell back in the day, back in my heyday, they had 50-cent taco Tuesdays.
Oh, yeah.
And you could go in and get whatever taco, hard or soft, for 50 cents a taco. And then they jumped it up to 89 cents. And, I was probably 16 when they bumped it up to 89 cents. And I remember being like,
you thought the sky was
damn
falling.
it, inflation. You know what I mean? Like, but and I was a jump surfer back then. This is in the very early 2000s.
But if you want to talk about big word, let's say inflation is a big word. Economists are people that deal with the economy, which is money, which they use the word inflation every day. I don't do brain surgery. So if a brain surgeon tried to explain brain surgery to me, he's probably going to dumb it down and use words I understand. But I'm going to take it from a brain surgeon that the brain surgeon knows what he's talking about when he talks about brain surgery. So if an economist who studies the economy, which is directly inflation, like, how do you not connect? Like, I'm
the
glad
left
she doesn't
always
have a job.
accuses the right, or accuses us. I don't want to say the right anymore because I don't feel like I'm right. Like, I feel like I'm with this new Trump party, right? The reasonablest party. Because I've had a bad taste in my mouth from the right since George Bush era. So I think we're in a new era, and I want to start calling it something else. So I'm going to just refer to our party as the reasonable party, because how many leftists flipped on this go around, right? Elon Musk, just the big names, right? Elon Musk, Zuckerberg, you got Joe Rogan, Russell Brand, and those are just the big ones. And so all of their fellowship who was left that stayed with them has also flip-flopped. So we're like kind of a new party. We're like the reasonablest party. So that's what I'm going to call it. But on the reasonablest party, the left accusing they always try to accuse us of the thing that they're doing. So what they created was the word gaslighting. That was the number one word of 2018, 2019. Nobody really had heard that. And that was something that the left had, which was, they were saying that Trump was gaslighting. Trump was gaslighting this. They were gaslighting that, gaslighting. Even though the left was the one doing all of the gaslighting. Again, they accuse the reasonablest party of everything that they are doing. And then they came, back in the day, conspiracy wasn't a word that everybody heard. That was another big government word that was actually used to describe lefties who believed that John F. Kennedy was assassinated by the government. And they didn't learn their lesson, right? Because now we have the JFK files that pretty much prove, or they do prove 100%, that this was an insider job by our own big government. That's interesting. Now, listen, I'm not going to beat a dead horse, but I want to play just another dumb moment from Joy Reid. Here we go. Nope, sorry. That's a dumb moment from Tom Hanks. Wow.
That Tom Hanks
that's
Joy
crazy. Here we go.
Stands for freedom, while the other meets the textbook definition of fascism, namely a far-right dictatorial regime like Hitler's Germany or Franco's Spain or Mussolini's Italy, but also white-ruled South Africa before Mandela and the black majority took control, or
South Africa
Vladimir Putin's Russia, Viktor Orban's Hungary, or Nicolas Maduro in Venezuela today, that suppresses the rights of women and minorities, uses the military to execute the whims of a strongman dictator, and controls and suppresses the press, education, the arts, rewrites history to suit a favored and dominant racial class. So
that, by the way, I'm so sorry that I cut off everyone. I guess if I hit record, I need to go back 10 more seconds because I don't know, for whatever reason, it's cutting off the first sentence of everything. But this is what she's saying, that there's this was in reference to voting. And she's like, there's one party that's this, and then there's this other party that's fascist. And then she goes into basically calling anybody on the Reasonless Party or anybody voting for Trump, she's comparing them to Mussolini, to Hitler, to Venezuelan prime minister or presidents, all these. It's absolutely crazy that she got away with saying that. Like, then Joy Reid, the popular vote, people who are, nobody that's even questioning voting for Trump is this character, but she just went and look how far in detail she went to make all of those. Like, that's where they do the weather, and she changed that whole the whole production studio side of things to present this very audacious and outrageous depiction of the right or the Reasonableness Party being complete and utter racist and race baiters. How many black people voted for Donald Trump this time or voted right this time versus any other time in history? It was a record.
And let's be honest, she didn't know who half those people were.
No.
She had no clue.
No.
Because
so now then here's the question then. If that's your take, Jason, that she doesn't know who those people, then is NBC setting her up to be a retard?
That's the way it seems. And anybody that,
so you're saying you're claiming that NBC would have come up with this and said, we need an idiot. We need the only idiot that would say something like this, and we're going to choose Joy Reid because then NBC would be guilty of racism, as Rachel Maddow would put it.
Yeah, it's the way it seems, because if you hear her talk just in interviews that she's being interviewed, not hosting a show, it's completely different. Completely different person.
Yeah.
So,
I think the inflation thing was 100% her.
No, that I agree with.
You know what I mean? Like, maybe she's just that stupid that they know that she'll say some stupid shit like that without doing any research. But then again, there you go. That's NBC setting her up for failure, which I guess would be racist. Let me play one more just in case you're not convinced how stupid Joy Reid is.
Flawlessly.
So now this, again, it's just cutting it off, and I don't know why. But here we go. This is her on election night, and this is her explaining the election campaign that Kamala Harris ran shortly before they find out that she loses miserably. But this is her political commentary on this very political board on MSNBC, arguably one of their biggest nights of the year. They have her sitting in the middle. She's the only person of color there. White person, white person, white person, black person, white person, white person, male, 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 and 3 girls. Only one of them is black, 1 person of color. That's it. And she's in the middle. And this is her commentary. This is her big moment. And this is what she says about Kamala Harris's campaign.
Historic, flawlessly run campaign. Queen Latifah never endorses anyone. She came out and endorsed. She had every prominent celebrity voice. She had the Taylor Swift, she had the Swifties, she had the Beehive. Like, you could not have run a better campaign in that short period of time. And I think that's still true.
This would be like, I swear to God, this would be like this is like when Drinking Bros Sports invited me to be a part. Thank God it was a goofy panel, but they had me sit in on their live Super Bowl coverage however many years ago that was, 4 or 5 years ago. But like, they literally took the microphone away from me. Like, at halftime, they were like, yo, go get on the ghost bed and don't say another fucking word. And because, like, if you don't know what you're talking about, you just sound fucking stupid. But like, for me, I told them I don't know anything about sports, and they're like, dude, it'll be funny, just come on. And then I saw that they were all really serious about sports, so I tried to be serious about sports, and they were like, dude, you sound fucking stupid. Like, don't talk again. We'll use you for comedic value. Go sit on the ghost bed. Sit this one out. So yeah, that's why there's this big picture of me sitting with the women. That's what it was. They were like, go sit with the women on the ghost bed, which I was like, oh yeah, that's what I want to sit next to Jesse Weissman and Brooke on a ghost bed. Well, yeah, oh yeah, I'll do that. No, I'm just kidding. But happy birthday, Jesse Weissman, by the way. And Ross Patterson from the Drinking Bros. But anyway, this is what happens when you put somebody that has no idea what they're talking about and you put them on a panel of people who do know what they're talking about, and she just sounds stupid. So again, is in it like they couldn't find any other black woman that actually knows what the fuck she's talking about? Like, she thinks the American people give a shit about what Queen Latifah, who Queen Latifah was going to endorse for the campaign, when you could have said, if you knew anything about politics, Joy Reid, you would have said that you had Dick Cheney from the right, the Bush era right, endorsing Kamala Harris, which was far more relevant than Queen fucking Latifah. Who is she talking to?
What are you talking about, Eric? You mean to tell me that the news over the last 4 years, they haven't just been propaganda, and now they realize that they actually have to be held accountable and actually do news and stop just reading off the teleprompter?
She's not reading off the teleprompter. Her view of politics was that what was important was Taylor Swift and Swifties and Queen fucking Latifah and all the celebrities that back Kamala Harris, which gave her a flawless, one of the best campaigns, as she puts it, only to find out that she lost miserably and ran one of the worst billions of dollars, one of the most expensive campaign runs in 11 weeks. It was like 11 weeks. She spent over $1 billion and fucking lost. She spent $10 million on Beyonce, who didn't even perform. Like, she ran one of the worst campaigns of all time, creating an atmosphere where the Democrats are now having to rebuild from the bottom up, because she basically exposed how stupid the left has become in one 11-week span, one campaign span, which, by the way, the left never voted for her to even run for the president. They gave it to her. Talking about gaslighting, talking about, accusing the right, speaking of fascism and Mussolini and all the other stuff that you talk about, Joy Reid. But that's what she's talking about, Josh. She's literally I'm beating a dead horse. I hope I don't have to explain to you guys how stupid Joy Reid is, but why would they not take one black person on NBC that knows anything about politics and put them up there? It's almost, and this is why I want to have this debate with you guys here coming up next about Trump wins, because now if I put this show together, I'm like, my mind is like, oh, come on. Like, I feel like you guys are doing this on purpose.
Well, over the past 4 years, that's all they've done has just been propaganda. And then, like, even if she's not reading off a teleprompter, and she is, that is what that's the narrative. If you question the narrative, look what Tucker Carlson did. He got fired from Fox News from questioning that narrative. And that's the more right narrative, right versus left narrative. So if you wanted someone that's actually going to think for themselves or actually do some independent checking and get some journalism and actually put out facts, you're not going to be on screen. You're not going to get any screen time. You're going to get ousted.
And
so I'm telling you, what I'm saying is that they didn't have to give Joy Reid. I promise you, Joy Reid was not reading off of a list right there. She was not a prompter. She was not reading. They did not put Taylor Swifties and Queen Latifah. No, they allow her to talk off the prompter because they know she's that fucking stupid that she'll already say something that goes with their narrative.
And the
like, you know what I'm saying?
The unfortunate thing is there's people that actually listen to her. Obviously not enough to keep her on, but there are people that actually listen to her and think that she's reading gospel. That's the sad part.
That's not sad. It's scary.
Well, scary part.
That's frightening part.
The better word.
Like, I'm not even sad about it. I'm frightened because of it.
Yeah.
Like, it's sad when you put a Bing and they try their best and then they like fart on camera accidentally or shit their pants because they're old. That's sad. What she's doing, the propaganda that she spreads, the misinformation that she's is actually frightening. Like, it's hurting the country. Somebody shitting their pants or blacking out on screen isn't necessarily like the media using somebody to destroy America. Now, I mean, I guess we could argue that being a politician and still shitting your pants is frightening for America, I guess again. Okay, we got a lot to cover. Speaking of Joy Reid, I'm going to play this one more clip because I put it, and a couple of people have already said like, what's going on with the Tom Hanks thing? If you America's kind of back, but and here's another example of the left just can't let it go. Like, you've got a huge movement right now coming off of this hockey game. It's like, look at social media, look at the buzz, look at the hype. USA, you had record numbers of people at Daytona with this flyover. People are jazzed up and amped. NASCAR's back, baby. You've got the Super Bowl, Trump showing up at the Super Bowl. It was electric with the Air Force One, all this stuff. Like, you've got some real momentum, and it's picking up ground, and it's trending on all the social media platforms and trending in mainstream television. And so why not, if you want ratings and you want numbers, why wouldn't you fly with that instead of fly against it? But if you're, I don't know, Comedy Central just coming up on your 50th anniversary thing, but so this is the kind of skits that you want to write with a guy like Tom Hanks, who's kind of on the back end of his career. He's not trending. So we're not, again, this is what they think. This is their marketing team. This is the brilliance of the left. This is what they think is going to get them more numbers.
Say something. If more folks went to church, we wouldn't be in this mess we're in now.
You know what? I agree with you, Doug. I'd like to shake your hand, sir. Here we go.
No,
Oh, no.
like that.
Oh, no. It's just a handshake. Yeah, it's just a handshake. Yeah, all right. You welcome to Black Jeopardy anytime.
By the way, that was probably the worst little bit of acting I've ever seen from Tom Hanks. Like, that was a terrible effort. Even as far as like SNL skits go. So yeah, there you go. But again, they think you're stupid. They think that this way of life, this unhinged, this Trump derangement syndrome, they think it sells numbers, even though their numbers are in way decline. And then they see podcasters like Don Bongino, we're going to talk about in a minute, who crushes primetime MSNBC. Tim Pool crushes in primetime MSNBC numbers. Joe Rogan, not even in the same planet, crushes that, but yet they will not go out and find their own versions of Joe Rogan, Russell Brand, Tim Pool, Don Bongino. Instead, they go all in on idiots like Joy Reid. Again, that's going to play over into our, is this all a bigger giant conspiracy? Also coming up, Epstein list update, Dan Crenshaw versus Tucker Carlson. And then this Eric Swalwell. Actually, I'm going to come back from this break real quick, and I want to show you this very frightening Eric Swalwell kind of breaking news. Again, this is something you're only going to find on FAWKES or on other outlets that aren't mainstream. Tim Pool is probably the only one I've seen talking about this so far. I'll be interested to see if somebody like a Glenn Beck picks this up, or like some of the other, maybe Sarah Gonzalez picks something. It seems like a Sarah Gonzalez type of story, but right now it's not really being covered, and you guys are going to hear it firsthand. Today's show is brought to you by ghostbed.com/Wolfpack. It sleeps so good, it's scary. My kids fought last night over a ghost bed pillow. They all have ghost bed pillows. They also have my pillows because they won them at a skate contest. Those my pillows are now they're on the dog's bed. Like, the dog sleeps on those. They don't even use them. I'm not talking shit. I've never slept on one. I don't know anything about them, but I know that my kids sleep on a ghost bed. I had my ghost bed pillow on the couch last night, and my children were fighting over my pillow to the point where I had to be like, yo, you guys know that you could just like go down the hallway to your bedroom and grab your ghost bed pillows. Like, y'all don't have to fight over mine. Like, they're all the same, except for Augie's, because he wanted the extra soft one, not the hard ones that me and Duke and Elkin have. And my wife, we like the firm one. I don't know why, because the firm one even seems soft to me, because it's firm, but your head like sinks into it, and the pillow just kind of wraps around your face. By the way, these pillows are not just regular pillows. They are like, they have the cooling technology. They have like 15 layers. If you were to cut these things in half, you would be like, holy shit. These pillows, they weigh like 5 pounds. They're like the heaviest pillows on Gaia Green Earth. The mattress is the same way. Extremely heavy. It comes in a very small box, though. You undo the box and it like explodes. And, like, you need to have like a warning. It's just like it folds all out. Absolutely incredible. Beds made in the good old USA. They're going to be ramping up things in May this year. maybe we're gonna get to if like we're might gonna be on the new thing, but it's a new thing that they're rolling out, which is gonna be kind of interesting. But I think the 50% thing is gonna go away. So if you want that 40%, up to 58% on some of the stuff on the site using our promo code Wolfpack, you better use it now, because I don't know if they're going to take it away in March or April, but I know it's going to go away in May because they're rolling out something new products, new everything. And I think they're going to almost like a rebranding type deal that's going on with GhostBed. So because they've grown so much. Actually, I saw a GhostBed in Costco, which I don't know if that's part. They told me that they're not going to tell me yet what the new thing is. So all I would say is, if you want to get the massage topper, the ghost bed pillow, now is the time to go on to ghostbed.com and use our promo code Wolfpack. All right, we've got Shield Box, monthly subscription for law enforcement, security guards, church security. If you want to revamp your kit, if you want to get new pouches, knives, sunglasses, you want gloves, but you don't want to go out and like you could buy $100 pair of sunglasses. Then you go out and you buy $50 knife, and then you go out and buy some knuckle buster gloves, or you buy whatever. Listen, $50, $55 a month, whatever it is, somewhere around there, $56. Shield Box, use the promo code Wolfpack. You're going to get a monthly subscription that has all that shit in each subscription. So 1 month you might be getting sunglasses. You might get something as cool as this breaching ball, which, like, who doesn't need a breaching ball? Didn't even know what a breaching ball was. It attaches to your ass so you can smash out windows. You can also yank and throw this thing. You can yeet it. You would definitely murder somebody if you yeeted this into their face or you hit them with it attached to their baton. But it is rad. It's just all sorts of cool stuff like that. Tourniquets come in there, pressure dressings, pouches, radio pouches, mag pouches, handcuffs, handcuff keys, handcuff pouches, belt holster stuff, all these like cool guy gadgets that really make your kit much more ergonomical and awesome. And you can collect it over time, only spending $55 a month. It's a great gift. It's like one of those gifts, again, where it just keeps on giving and giving, similar to GhostBed, where it's like you using it every day. Speaking of using something every day, we also have factormeals.com/Wolfpack50. Meal planning to the next level. Head over to factormeals75.com. Start your meal plan today. Again, this is a great gift for that loved one that's trying to get jacked for the summer, maybe trying to lose weight for the summer. You can do calorie conscious, protein heavy, chef prepared, fresh and never frozen meals delivered right to your door. Heats up in a microwave in 2 minutes or less. Head over to factormeals.com/Wolfpack50. Let's get into the Eric Swalwell stuff really quickly, because this is bizarre. So if for those of you who don't know, Eric Swalwell, and I just want to get his title correct. Eric Swalwell was on the Intelligence Committee. The Intel Select Committee. Now he's on the Homeland Security Committee. He got kicked off the Intel Committee because he got caught giving information and fucking a Chinese spy named Fong Fong or Fing Fing or whatever her name was. Huge scandal. You guys remember that, correct?
Yeah.
Like we talked about that on the show. So big Democrat guy cheating on his wife, as if he didn't learn his lesson. He goes off and goes to dinner. Now, this is coming from a Twitter account, Nick Sorter, okay? NickSortor on X. He is an independent journalist for Fox News. I mean, almost everybody. Like his list of news sources that he drops news to left and right, it's kind of like everybody. I even think NBC is on his list. But basically, he is an inside journalist, and he gets inside stuff. So he's out at this dinner, this big to-do dinner, and lo and behold, Eric Swalwell is sitting at a table very near him. This was not planned. Eric Swalwell has two lobbyists sit down at his table that he does not know, and they start to drink. And in 10 minutes, he starts bragging about cheating on, allegedly, starts bragging about cheating on his wife, starts bragging about all this national this national security information. So this journalist records the whole thing. Now, as I've read it, it looks like, so let me just read this. This is coming from Nick Sorter, SORTOR. This is coming from his Twitter. Eric Swalwell panics when I ask, and I'm going to show you the video. panics when I ask about his Chinese spy girlfriend Fang Fang and whether that's a bigger national security threat than Elon Musk. By the way, Eric Swalwell has been very open talking about how Elon Musk is a huge security threat and that the American people didn't vote for Elon Musk, yada, yada, yada. I sat next to a drunk Swalwell at dinner for 90 minutes. He was immediately compromised by a group of lobbyists he just met, spilling intimate details about his job and asking for help cheating on his wife. By the way, he was already caught once with a Chinese spy, so obviously hasn't stopped. Massive national security threat. This guy should have his clearance revoked. Swalwell spent his dinner bragging about orgies on Capitol Hill. But remember the butt fucking video where the two guys were butt fucking each other on the House floor. So that doesn't just happen unless there is a culture of this going on at Capitol Hill. By the way, I said that when it came out. I said that's just not a one-off thing. That doesn't escalate. That started somewhere else, and it's escalated to the fact where they're just openly banging on the floor. So orgies on Capitol Hill, telling them he's bored of his wife and only wants to fuck tens. Worse, he spoke about abusing his power on the House Intel Committee, which he's been booted from, saying he pushed to subpoena Ivanka Trump because she's, quote, hot as fuck. This guy must be removed from the Homeland Security Committee. He cannot keep his freaking mouth shut or keep his dick in his pants. I added that. That is not on the tweet. All right, back to the tweet. After I began questioning him, Swalwell jumped back into the group of lobbyists to hide from me, but I pressed on. Dude looked absolutely terrified and 100% guilty. He knows he's been caught. More to come later. I have about an hour and a half of audio to go through. Big shout out to Laura Loomer for assisting me with digging into this clown while I was focusing on listening in. All right, so there you go. That's the backstory to the video I'm about to show you. You are going to want to see this video. If you're one of our audio listeners, again, 99% of you are our audio listeners, you're going to want to go onto the YouTube, which is at the 42-minute mark, and you're going to want to just go and watch this quick clip. Maybe I can rip this at the 42-minute mark. I'm going to write this down, 42-minute mark. I want to rip this into a reel, and I'll put it on our Instagram for Fox News Instagram. That's Fox_News_Maine on Instagram. You can find this video. And this is Eric Swalwell. And I want to make sure this is the right one here.
Musk is a fascist at some point and alluded to him being a national security threat. Do you see that more of a national security threat, you sleeping with a Chinese spy, than transparency in the federal government?
So he's walking somewhere in some kind of lobby, hotel lobby or something like that. I can't really tell. And it's just a bombarding journalist, right? Like this is the guy that sat at the table that heard all this. This is Nick Sorter. But the tone in which Eric Swalwell is walking, he's just like, whatever, dude. And he's smiling and he's looking at him and he's got a grin, right? Like you can see his little temples. He's got a grin. This is no big deal. It's about to get a whole lot worse. This is about to escalate very quickly. Pay attention to his mannerisms now versus mannerisms in about 10 seconds.
What are your thoughts on that?
Because by the way, the Fang Fang, like that's old news. That's old news. By the way, 5 years ago, this guy got caught farting on the news really loud. He pauses and like just freaking cuts out a juicer. I'll play that video for it because I did rip it. But this guy he's cocky, he's confident, he doesn't give a fuck, and he's kind of almost like answering very cockily about the Fang Fang because he already got away with it. So he fucked this Chinese spy, got caught, and then he gets removed from the Intel Committee, but he still wins because he gets put on the Homeland Security Committee. These people don't get fired, right? They just get promoted and hired, which is a whole nother story. So he's very cocky.
What are your thoughts on that? What's Fang Fang think of that? What are you doing?
Doesn't even care, doesn't faze him. But now here it comes.
What's fascistic about exposing government corruption? I mean, I know you're just at dinner now with a bunch of lobbyists. You know, they're buying you a bunch of booze. And
did you see it? Did you see it? Did you see it? Yeah. Oh, I've never seen somebody be more guilty from just the look on their face than this dude right here. This dude,
2-second look,
bro. You could like going ghost. This dude just went ghost. All right, for the real at 43:32. Here it goes. It's for the real. This is Nick Swalwell just finding out that an inside journalist listened to his conversation, his drunk conversation with lobbyists. And if I've never seen somebody more guilty by the look on their face than Nick Swalwell right now, take a look at this.
Bunch of booze, and that's awfully nice. I know you were talking about maybe finding somebody else because you only like to fuck people that are 10s. I just heard that one too. So what do you think about that? Do you want to comment on any of it? Elon Musk is a national security threat, but you sleeping with a Chinese spy is not. Is that correct? You don't want to comment on that at all?
Yo, he went from super cocky and smug, smiling and laughing like, yeah, I bang, fang, fang. Oh, that's all you got. And then when he drops that he caught him with those lobbyists talking about cheating on his wife with 10s and calling Ivanka Trump hot this and hot that and all these other things that he said, he went ghost.
He immediately started a recall in his head like, fuck, what did I just say? What did I say 20 minutes ago? Oh, God. Oh, God. He heard it.
Does this not give you guys anxiety? Like, have you ever been there where somebody, like maybe when you were in like high school or something, when they're like, oh, that note that you wrote Sally, and you're like, oh, God.
You're like, oh, you found
know about that.
Or like when your teacher, right? Like when you're passing a note that's like, my teacher's a big fat fuck. And then the teacher's like, give me that note. And she opens it up and you're like, you got nothing to say. That's this dude's look on his face. I'm going to play it again because watch how fast, I'm not going to interrupt you. Watch how fast this dude goes from cocky, I got away with the fang fang thing, to, oh shit, here it comes.
A Chinese spy, then transparency in the federal government. What are your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts on that? What's Fang Fang think of that?
What are you doing?
What's fascistic about exposing government corruption? I mean, I know you're just at dinner now with a bunch of lobbyists. They're buying you a bunch of booze, and that's awfully nice. I know you were talking about maybe finding somebody else because you only like to fuck people that are 10s. I just heard that one too. So what do you think about that? Do you want to comment on any of it? Elon Musk is a national security threat, but you sleeping with a Chinese spy is not. Is that correct? You don't want to comment on that at all? Looks like guilty as charged.
Bro, does he not have that look? Does he not have that look like?
That's that look when, like, I don't have kids, but we deal with suspects. So you tell suspect, like, oh, they're just lying through their teeth. And then you're like, I know you're lying. And then you give them just a little bit of truth. And then you see the look on it like, oh, he does know what he's talking about. What else? And then the wheels start turning. That's what that look is the wheels start turning. Like Keith said, he's trying to recall, like, what did I say that I'm going to have to answer for tomorrow morning? That's what that look is.
And what else is my wife going to hear that came out, the flood of dumb that came out of my face tonight? Son of a bitch. I would not put him on a committee in charge of ordering toilet paper.
But
yet he continues to go up the chain. Which is
how do you still have a job at all? Like,
this is the culture of Capitol Hill. Orgies, only people that are involved in orgies, BFing on the House floor, all the nasty behaviors that we, the pizza parlor stuff, all that stuff that we hear about on Capitol Hill. It makes you think it's real when you see shit like this, because this dude isn't even hiding it anymore. And the look on his face when he's like, and then they talk about lives and he goes,
we're renaming Capitol Hill to Bang Bang Hill.
Perversion Hill.
That's
Diddy,
how
Diddy Hill.
It's going to be referred to on One More and I'm Out of Here from now on.
Diddy Hill. Speaking of Diddy Hill, we have the Epstein list update as promised. The release is imminent. However, I'm not really excited about this. And then we're going to talk about the Trump winning thing, which I'm going to need all hands on deck for that. That'll be the last 10 minutes of the show. Coming up real quick. I just want to get through this really quick. FBI, this is coming from timesnownews.com. FBI deleting evidence linked to Jeffrey Epstein, new whistleblower's claim. A whistleblower has come forward with allegations that Federal Bureau of Investigation systematically deleted evidence tied to a high-profile case related to Jeffrey Epstein. The allegations were alerted or were by podcaster Benny Johnson. This comes after Trump administration began reviewing the Epstein files before their probable release. An alleged whistleblower alleged that the Federal Bureau of Investigation systematically deleted a massive amount of evidence tied to high-profile cases related to Jeffrey Epstein and internal operations against American citizens. The alleged move was aimed at obstructing investigations led by FBI Director Kash Patel and Deputy Director Don Bongino. Okay, so the funny part about this article is those guys haven't even started working yet. Don Bongino is still podcasting. These guys haven't even really started going to work. So you can't say that, Don Bongino and what's his name have already started to delete these files. These guys are not even anywhere close to those files at this moment. There's a lot of stuff that they have to go through before they can really start getting to work. But this is just yet another attempt to retard what's going on, to try to discredit or, put out misinformation so that you don't believe the information that comes out, because they're panicking. The left is panicking. And so they're coming up with all of these wazoo things to just try to take off the heat. But, again, I'm not too excited about the evidence that's sitting on her desk, because as she's already put out, it isn't really substantial evidence of anything. It literally appears almost like she's saying it's just a list. So we'll see, but that release is imminent any day now. Could be seconds. We were actually hoping last night that it would have already dropped overnight. We were thinking at 10 p.m. last night was when it was going to drop. It did not. So we'll keep an eye on it. But let's move forward here to Trump winning. So right now we have DEI gone overnight, removed from all the bulletins in federal buildings. We've got Trump putting his mugshot up. He's won over Eric Adams out of New York, which is insane. So now we've got Eric Adams on the Trump train, which I'm not happy about. But you've got Elon with Doge getting almost no pushback, getting answers immediately. We have that FBI email. I mean, the federal email that was put out yesterday about the list of 5 things that you've accomplished, which, by the way, there was one person that responded to that email. Listen to this. Josh, can you read for me what these 5 things that he put in his federal email? Is this real?
Yeah, this was sent to HR. I have a couple of these. The one was, hi, I wanted to email you what I did last week in detail. Please let me know if you need more information. Bullet point number 1, sucked the biggest dick. Seriously, it was 12.3 inches. I measured. Bullet point 2, got fucked by said dick. Best sex of my life, and we'll be going back for more. Bullet point 3, ate a man's ass, but he said he was gay, so it's fine. Bullet point 4, decided to fuck myself with your bullshit and came. So seriously, go fuck yourself.
So why is it that all of these freakos are so obsessed with sex and taking dicks? Again, it goes back to a federal cultural poisoning. I was just talking to a girl that just left her husband, who's a high-ranking military guy. This is the second female that I've talked to. Now, you never know. A woman scorned could be telling rumors, but I know these guys well enough, and I've had conversations that I'm not surprised if these were real, about wanting to partake in orgies and wanting to partake in gangbangs and the like, and trying to get their spouses and significant other, because it has. And when I served in the military and I served in the police department, it is part of the culture. You see that high-ranking guys in these departments, they cheat on their wives. They get caught. They get called into HR or IA because they are doing it on company time. That's the rumor. That's why they're sitting somewhere on a desk duty for a long time, and then all of a sudden they just get rerouted in another government position that's oftentimes better than the gig that they already had. And so there is no real punishment, and it sets a culture. It sets a tone of culture for that work environment, and it is plagued law enforcement and the military for decades now. A lot of these guys, in the military, it was almost like a rite of passage to cheat on your wife. It's absolutely disgusting. So it doesn't surprise me that the sly little email back, the funny, sarcastic email back, had all to do with sexual perversion, because that's where we're at. Go ahead. You got another one or no?
Yep. Let me pull it up here.
I bet you it's going to be sexually disgusting. I can only guess. I haven't seen it yet. Go ahead.
I called you an evil POS from 8 to 10. Funny. I pondered over why there is a full-blown attack on federal workers and why their salaries are a small part of the budget. I went and got my Prozac increased because of all the anxiety. I wonder why you and Trump won't make billionaires pay their fair share of taxes by destroying the middle class. And I realize the middle class will be poor class
That's
because
well
of your
played.
actions.
That's a
and then I call
classy.
Joe evil POS from 12
That
or
was a
2
little
to
weak.
4:30.
I think the number 5, you could have been a little bit more creative. I think this person, she gave up. But hey, I mean, those are fair points. I mean, that I'll give it a 5 out of 10 stars for sarcasm. But the other one, the sexual perversion, fucking not even creative, dude. Just fucking stupid. All right, what's the last one?
This one, they just sent a picture in. Some of my accomplishments. Guy bending over. I was in my car taking a shit.
Okay. I can do that.
And
I like that. Crass,
When
but
people question whether these are real or not, like Zillow says that there's not a housing market crash in DC right now, despite 2,400 homes just being listed overnight. That's not a housing market
again.
crash.
What the left accuses the reasonableness party of doing, they in fact are doing. So yeah, I do believe that there probably is a market crash. I mean, I've talked to several realtors. It's funny because you talk to like financial advisors, like everything's going great, but then you talk to somebody that was a financial advisor and isn't anymore, and they're like, oh no, we're so far, like we're hanging on by a thread. Like there is going to be, like I would not, you know what I mean? It's like
all perspective.
It's all in perspective. It's kind of like, and where the propaganda is going. So who knows? But is Trump winning too much, right, guys? Like when you look at the totality of all of this, is Trump winning too much? Was this part of the plan? When you have Fetterman, AOC, when you have Joy Reid, when you have dumbasses like Eric Swalwell doing all this dumb, crazy shit, when you have the crazy shit that's going on the House floor, when you have the cocaine getting into the White House, when you just have absolute debauchery, was this all set up? Was this all part of a plan?
It seems like it. Only in the fact, like the analogy is, picture a driving range. You've got golf balls teed up on every mat, and Trump's coming up and just hitting 300-yard drives straight down the middle.
Yeah.
He hasn't.
It's almost like his bat is corked.
Yeah, exactly. See, look at the analogy. I'm so proud of you.
Because you can cork a golf bat, right?
Yeah, just like your football bat.
Yeah. That's what you're exactly right, Jason. I mean, that's exactly what it feels like. I feel like, where is the pushback? Where's the nations that I would expect to come from somebody doing these kinds of, making these kinds of moves? It's like, wow. So you're playing with the money. You're going after the money. You're exposing where the money's going, that is directly infecting the rich cabal. If there is a cabal, which a lot of you believe that there is, and listen, I'm saying 85% chance that cabal thing is real. I go on percents. I don't say like 100% there's a cabal, 100% the world is round. And I'm like 85% that the world is round. There's a 15%, 20% chance it could be flat. But I don't really know because I've never seen it, so I'm not 100% in. But I'm not 100% in that there's a cabal. But let's say, for argument's sake, that there is a cabal that would be led by really rich people, right? That's what the QAnon books. I have read the QAnon books, a few of them, back in the QAnon in the 2015s and 16s. I read those books, 17s, 18s. I want to learn all about QAnon. I didn't believe all of it, but some of it was real. Some of the stuff that they say is real, and it's verifiably real. Some of it's a little off the rocker, but not all of it. But again, the cabal, arguably, that's, if we're going to go on that argument, the cabal is a rich elite world, kind of like a world elitist running the world, and not just the United States government. And they're calling all the shots. And I can believe that because we know that Biden wasn't doing the shots, calling the shots. We know AOC wasn't calling the shots. So who was calling the shots? Makes me think that it could be a cabal, a new world order. But let's just say that there is, right? Now Trump's going after their big money, their big dollars, their billions and trillions of dollars are being exposed. And if that is real, they would have killed him. They would have killed Musk. They would have killed Patel. They would have killed one of them. One of them would be assassinated by now. I don't know. Is it part of the plan?
I can give you some. I'm a numbers guy, so I can give you some numbers on why this feeling that you have is this feeling. Obama's first term, and the first 31 days of office, he answered 161 questions from reporters.
Okay.
Trump's first term, he answered 199 questions from reporters. Okay. Biden's only term, he answered 141 questions. You want to know how many answered questions have been during this first so far? Do you have a guess, Keith? A guess?
I literally just saw it on my TV. So
okay, I'll make a guess because I don't know. You said Obama was 700?
No, Obama was 161. Trump's first term was 199 and then 141 for Biden.
Oh, so like under 200. I'll be audacious. I'll go with 300.
We'll go 1,009 so far.
Oh, that's
1,009.
That's
You want to talk about transparency? That screams transparency. That screams, hey.
No, that screams
this is
fascism. You're telling me that Trump is going after the money and exposing government corruption, and he's answering questions that the media answer him? That sounds like fascism. That sounds like Mussolini. Hitler. How many questions did Hitler answer? Because if you say 1,000, then Joy Reid was right.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I don't know, but it does feel like either the left has figured out that the majority rules, and now they're running scared, and that their shit's not working, and they're just letting the pendulum swing because they have to, or this was all a big government plan. I'd love to know what your thoughts are on that. Send us a DM. Engage with us on social media. Let us know what you think. We'll answer you in the DMs. We're not going to judge you. We don't get unprofessional on social media and be like, you fucking idiot. You're so stupid in your opinion. No, we have a debate back and forth. Last thing, if you don't know, I want to get it out there. Not going to touch on it too much, but Dan Crenshaw, kind of under his closed breath at the end of an interview, when they asked about Tucker Carlson, he says if he ever sees him, he'll kill him. Now, remember, this is the same Dan Crenshaw that wanted to kind of celebrate or at least bring into question red flag laws, as in like you say something crazy, they can come and take your guns, which I'm not a big fan of that because that's the government. Again, there's too many opportunities for the government to be like, well, Eric did an unhinged rant and we feel like he's going to go on a shooting because he was on an unhinged rant. We're going to take his guns away because they didn't like what I was talking about. Oh, Eric's going to a PTA meeting to talk about the ineffectiveness of masks. Let's take his gun away. That's going to be threatening. So I don't like the red flag laws after COVID, after what I saw on COVID. But now so with that, Dan Crenshaw, would this be included in that red? Like, if I see Tucker Carlson, I'll kill him. Does that fall under a red flag law? Do we go and take Dan Crenshaw's guns away? I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the chats. What you think of that? What you think of Dan Crenshaw? I want to end today's show real quick. Josh has a special episode, 2-minute trailer. What are you going to be releasing in the next day or two right here on FAWKES News? Hit that subscribe button. Head over to audio and make sure that you get in on this. Also, guys, going into this summer, we are going to be revamping completely, starting today, the Patreon. Let's just do it with this. Let's just do a Patreon. Let's do it on Patreon. If you're not on our Patreon, you're not going to hear this rant. He's going to put this rant on Patreon. Next week, we will drop this rant to here. So you're going to have to wait a whole week to hear what he's about to say. Go follow us on. Listen, guys, we need the help. We want to get paid. We want to pay Jason a little bit more. We want to pay Josh. We want to pay John a little bit more. All that money is coming from Patreon. So, help us continue to bring out this awesome news, travel, do some more stuff. Join the Patreon. We'll have some fun over there. And it's more intimate. Patreon's more intimate than anywhere else. So give us a quick trailer on what you're going to put on Patreon this week.
Well, I've been connected to a couple little dots. So the first dot I'll put out there is, I don't know if you realize, but we have been slowly revamping a lot of assets and places around the globe that we used and utilized during World War II. And completely unrelated, China has been doing live fire exercises off the coast of Australia. So just take those 2 dots and see what you want to do with those. But it's pretty
wild what he's discovered. So on this episode, he's going to go over some flight paths of some other really important aircraft going to and from, and some of the other threats that have been made anonymously through other outlets, social media outlets, that really, I mean, he has me convinced. Like, I'm like, yo, we might just call you Jostradamus after this episode. That's diabolical and it's factual. So this is like a real hypothesis. This isn't some kind of like hyperbolic deal. This is like real deal. Here's the evidence. This is what's going on. Fact. Here's all the context. Fact. It's not even like speculation context. It's factual context. Here's the information. What do you think about it? Now, your opinion on the facts can be speculative, but the facts are very, very alarming facts. I think this is going to be a great Patreon episode. Also, I do want to see a lot more on this Patreon. I'm just now kind of getting organized with the whole book thing. You guys have been absolutely great. I was down at the studios in Chapel Hill shooting a very funny take on Pig Latin with my mother. She, for the first time ever, read an excerpt from the book, and we had to get her live reaction, which was insane, out of control. It's going to be a funny video. Can't wait for the edit. And so, yeah, we want to start doing a lot more stuff on the Patreon. We love you guys. Bosco says he wants to get up on the Patreon. He wants to get paid. Hey man, like maybe one day. We'll see. If we grow to the point where I can just start hiring other podcasters, I'd love to do it. But we've got a lot of stuff. Also, Failure to Stop podcast coming up with this big Daniel Holtzclaw, free Daniel Holtzclaw push. So there's going to be a lot going on there. And I think we'll put a lot of that content on Patreon as well, if not all of that. On Patreon, only because we need to raise money to be able to do this, to free Holtzclaw. I mean, this costs a lot of money, flying to Oklahoma, interviewing, going to the jail, interviewing, trying to find these victims, quote unquote, getting some interviews. That all that stuff's cost money. We're gonna have to figure out a way. But I also want to leave that stuff open to the public too, because I'm not there to make money. I'm there to free Holtzclaw. So I you know what I mean? So maybe it's this thing that we put it out there on the website. Maybe you guys help us out by giving a couple of super chats here and there. We'll see. But a lot of things happening, guys. So don't shy away from Fox News and Failure to Stop. G.I. Joe says it's the best. Maybe you didn't know about Joy Reid being ousted. Maybe you didn't know about how that plays into more Trump wins. Maybe you didn't know who Eric Swalwell was, or why it's so important that he not be a disgusting piece of shit. But now you do know, and knowing is half the battle. Take us out of here, Joshua.
See ya.
Thank you, Jason.